Good afternoon, everybody. This is Robin Ayoub from the Localization Fireside Chat, and welcome to another episode. I think with this one here, we're recording episode 221 today. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you're doing phenomenal on this Friday afternoon. Hopefully, the weather is nice wherever you are. I'm living here in Toronto, and it's cloudy today. The weather is cold still in Canada. We haven't hit summer yet, and I hope you get some warmth and some sunshine wherever you are. And I want to welcome you back to another episode as we record this particular episode. I'm excited about it. My guest today has actually reached out to me at first, and I always appreciate it when guests reach out and they want to be part of this conversation. They want to come on the Localization Fireside Chat, and I highly encourage anybody out there. You've got a story to tell. You've got an initiative that you're working on. Would love to have you as a guest. It doesn't cost you anything. An hour of your time. We'll have a conversation together, and we'll tell the world what you're working on. Martinez, founder of Bandsaw AI, made a note a few weeks ago, and we had, he said he has been listening to the show and had some practical advice to share about AI implementation. And I always welcome the idea of sharing ideas around AI and how we implement AI. And after 13 years of operation, I should say, Marvin, he now designs and deploys AI-powered systems for service businesses. So businesses that are delivering services to their customers. And we initially had scheduled this call for April, but we had to reschedule it because of many conflicting scheduling issues on my side and Marvin's side. But Marvin, I'm glad we made it happen. Welcome to the show.
Robin, for having me, for giving me some room in your podcast. I loved listening to your podcast as well, and good thing we made it happen.
I really appreciate it. Thanks for your time with me today. As we say on this channel, Marvin, everybody gets the easy question first, and then we'll dive right into it. So tell me your story a little bit. Tell the audience who you are, what you're working on, and where you come from, background, that kind of thing, like professional background, that kind of thing.
Good. I would like to describe myself as an AI enthusiast. I have been running operations in the country where I lived for a BPO company. That's pretty much like a call center. I was the general manager, and I was in charge of handling multiple processes. I was in charge of overseeing the recruitment of new people, training those people with the product knowledge, then doing operations, quality control, IT, HR, and so many things that a business needs to do, transportation, logistics, right? And I had to be very good at mapping the processes. What was our first step? Showing our roadmap, how long it took us to take one person from knowing zero to being a top performer. So I got very used to, designing those systems in paper, in a map, right? And when this whole AI boom started, I started to get into it using more ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Grok, and so many new tools coming in. I realized that there were a lot of things in that process map that AI could do. And the reason why that was possible is because many of the things were repetitive. For example, we had to update or to enter all the new hires into our CRM system, right, for HR purposes. So we had to get the information from recruitment, who was in charge of getting the information from the applicant. So the information was flowing from the applicant, recruitment, HR, and other verticals in the business, right? So that alone was a lot of work, but it was just about moving the person, copy pasting information from one place to the other. Now AI is able to do that repeatedly, right? So that's why I decided to co-found Bandsaw AI and start being the operation guy who knew AI, not the other way around, because there's a lot of people that know AI, but they have not necessarily been in operations.
You've got that inside out look to the business. So you know the business, and then you can put applications to solve problems in the business, which is very unique. Because you're right, a lot of people are from the outside looking into the business, and they're sort of guessing. I know there's a lot of people that they get into a conversation with the business and try to solve problems, but it's much better position when you are inside the business, knowing the business, and then try to solve the problems because you already experienced it. Now, when you say in my country, where are you located?
Right now, I am Right now, I am located in Nicaragua, which is Central America. We're the biggest country in Central America.
Well, nice to meet you. I haven't had a podcast guest yet from Nicaragua. You're the first ambassador from the country. I'd love to have you with me here today and talk a little bit about what you're up to. And nice to meet you, by the way. You're an avid listener, and I love that. And I didn't know, and I just got to tell you a little story. When I started this podcast about 3 years ago, literally, I started as a coffee chat with people. Like post pandemic, nobody wants to see anybody, and everybody's just being home. And you invite somebody for coffee and say, "Oh, no, I don't want to talk to people. I don't have time. People are enjoying working from their own homes." So what I said, okay, well, let's cut to the chase. I'm going to do this over a camera. So I started having coffee chat over camera. And then I thought, why don't I record them? So I started recording them. And the only hope I had is and I started putting them on YouTube, obviously. So I wasn't hoping to, I didn't have this in my head that I'm going to get viewers. All I was hoping for is my mother to see them.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's
So I
so
went
good.
to my parents live like in elderly people now. They live 2 hour flight from me. So I went to visit them one time, and they have a smart TV. So I put the YouTube app on their TV. So when I post something, it shows up on their television as a notification. There's something coming from me. My mother at least was watching them. No, it's a
Your
little better.
first your first viewer, your mom. That's a great backstory.
That's all right. So as we move along here in our conversation, what kind of business were you working inside? You mentioned call center. Is that what you had?
Yes, I used to work for a big call center here in Nicaragua. But then after I moved out, I have been working within other industries like real estate, sales, like those regular industries out of the call center. And my wife here in Nicaragua, she also has a business. So I started working together with her to make that business grow as well. So also kind of the same deal, right? Hiring, understanding your processes, understanding how to get new clients, social media content, customer service support, sales, and it's more of the same for pretty much every company that I have worked with.
Because I would imagine the call center industry is very prime for AI application for automation. I remember working for call center technology back in my early days of my career, where I worked as a programmer, a database administrator, a database architect for a company called Genesis. I'm not sure if your call center used it, Genesis, as a tool for automation inside the call center. Genesis Labs, I guess they used to call them. And they're still around. They still do call center applications. And like ServiceNow and Genesis, there are competing products. And I'm very familiar with running call center because I worked in many call centers before I got to where I am right now. So, and generally call centers, they're very heavy on the applications, on depends on what you're doing, obviously, and on the number of people in the call center. So in some cases, call centers have thousands of people working in. And when you say, you need to hire people and you need to enter records into the CRM, I completely understand that. It's a full-time task.
It is a full-time task. And the company that I was working for here in the call center, we were supporting a Microsoft client. So Microsoft, the type of tools that they would give us is Copilot and all the Microsoft suite, where we would automate a couple of stuff using Power Automate. But it was very early on because now AI can do so many things with so little effort. So the differentiator here is who has the best idea on how to run the business, because for the build, the connections and all that, even AI can help you with it.
Now, when you say AI for service business, do you mean call center or something else?
Right now, I mean every company that provides a service to consumers. For instance, plumbing companies, for instance, roofers, cleaning companies, or any other. I have even worked with some podcast producers on how to download the video, how to get the transcripts, subtitles, video shorts, publish into major platforms, ACO for titles, and so many things. But as long as you provide a service to other people, then that means that you have a sales process, you have a CRM system, you have a database, you have customer support. So I help with pretty much all that.
So was there a specific moment when you thought this problem needs to have a dedicated solution? Like what triggered it?
Yeah, the moment I realized that most companies were needing the same. Let me
Yeah.
give you an example. Like for instance, working with my wife here in her business, she needs a system where she can get new clients, where she can get new people coming in. How do we get new clients for her? Right. So if you go to any other company that they do services, they need to find clients and they should have a process to do it. Some people would do cold outreach and they will have people calling other people. Some other companies, they have cold email campaigns, sending emails, in a blast to multiple potential customers. Some other peoples would do LinkedIn outreach, content, so on and so forth. So there's a process that happens for every company that acquires new clients. And I realized that AI can do a lot of it.
Mm.
Like, just to name another example, if you're going to get into a sales call with someone, it is always good and a best practice from top sellers that they will know something, some nice facts about the person that they are speaking to. So they have to do some research on the company, the LinkedIn profile, look at the most recent success stories, changes, so on and so forth. And we can have an AI scraping agent to do all that job for you and give you a summary of key points that you can bring to the conversation. And that makes the conversation so much easier for them. So at that point, I realized, we can automate a lot of these things for service companies.
So are you in this particular one? Are you like comparing it to Humantic AI or something like this?
No, what I'm doing is just thinking about what process you do every day that takes you time, and then
No,
implementing
what I meant
AI.
is the description that you meant is in preparation for somebody to talk to somebody, you got to give them a little bit of a context. And that particular application, I've used it before. It's called Humantic.ai or Humantic AI, where it embeds itself into LinkedIn. And then before I go into meeting somebody, it knows my calendar, it knows who I'm talking to, who I would be talking to, and it gives me a prep card, if you will, for my meeting. This person likes.
That's exactly it.
Is that what it
That
is?
is exactly that's exactly it. Correct. And some companies may use that. Some other companies may not use that. But at the end of the day, they do have a sales process in place. They have to source new clients. They have to create content. They have to talk to
Sure.
people. They have to book. They have a CRM where they have to put all the people in. And so that thing that takes time, that something that they do every day and
Okay.
that can save them time, that's exactly what I resolve. Just one more recent example. If you think about your day, or for business owners, founders, the first thing that they do at the beginning of the day is looking at their inbox, seeing so many emails coming through, maybe 50, 60. Imagine that they spend 30 minutes every day at the beginning just looking at the inbox, understanding what is urgent, what's not, what is garbage, and then starting to respond to the ones that they should respond to. So 30 minutes, if you do that 5 days a week, that's
Yep.
about 2 hours and a half. That is 10 hours per 2 hours and a half per week, 10 hours per month. And if you multiply that by $100 an hour, maybe that's worth the time of a CEO that is starting. That's some good money out there, right? And those are things that you do repeatedly and that you can have AI do for you, or at least get you prepared.
Of course. Logistical stuff. Yeah. Now, you mentioned, to me that everything you share is based on real systems already deployed. What does that mean in practice? Do you have like some of these systems already in place? Sold them already?
Yes, I have several systems in place already. Some of them are systems that you can repeat, meaning that, you know, you can use them across industries. Some other are custom solutions, right? And let me give you some practical examples because I like to talk about that. Practical examples. There's a lot of hype out there. You will see in social media many headlines saying, for instance, I replaced an entire GTM team with an AI agent army in just 10 days, right? So the title suggests that you can do so much, but at the end of the day, if what you do does not resolve an issue, then is that really worth it? That's kind of where I'm going to. One of the systems I built for one locksmith company, it's an AI voice agent that could take the call when the owner was not available. Not every call. So the owner was telling me, hey, you know what? Sometimes I'm on a job, I'm in the field, and I can't answer the phone call. So he was missing about 1 or 2 phone calls per week. Not much. Like, if you think about it, that might not seem too much, but his service call fee was 150.
Yeah.
So that means if he loses 2 customers, that's $300 that he's leaving out there in the table just by not answering the phone.
Yep.
So what we did was to build a system that every time he could not answer, either he pressed the a red button to decline the call, or if he missed the call, then the call gets routed to the AI agent. And the only
Okay.
job of the AI agent is to say, hey, we acknowledge your concern. The owner is busy right now. Let me get your information. Tell me what you need, and I'll get someone right away for you.
To help you.
So it's like a minute long. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds maybe. So it's not much. It's not an entire conversation. So the person would say, hey, I need this service. My house is locked out. It's urgent. It's not. So uh, all that information gets through the AI agent, and it is sent via text message to the owner, or in this case, to the locksmith. And at the same time, the customer gets a text message with an acknowledgement. And
Okay.
all of this is using AI and having systems connected, the CRM, the calendar, the person's phone number. And just like that, he
Mhm.
doesn't miss any phone calls now. So if he was missing two calls, $300 a week, that's about $1,000, or even a little bit more of $1,000 every month that he's saving.
What's your business model, Marvin? How do you charge for this stuff?
Right now, we are charging per implementation. Do it's Usually it's custom solutions. So I look at your business, look at what you do, understand what's the lowest hanging fruit. Because what I like to also provide my clients is ROI in a very short amount of time,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if I can do something for you that you can see exactly the system working, and you are already getting, the results,
Mm-hmm.
um, that's what I stand for. So I go into your company, I look at the process, see the complexity. Every process is different. Sometimes you may have something already in place, and depending on that, we do a one-time setup fee, and then we do a retainer for a monthly amount, just for monitoring the system, doing
Just keep it going.
updates. Exactly, just keep it going, which is totally optional, because if you don't want that, when we just hand the system over to you, everything that we build it in your own infrastructure. So if we are going to need tools like N8N, Apify, maybe
Anthropic
Bandsaw,
or one of those.
like, everything is purchased by you,
Yeah.
and it's built in your infrastructure, so we don't keep anything.
Okay. Now, you said most of AI implementations fail. Most of them fail. And, we already talk about them quite often. This is a strong statement. So, why do they fail, in your opinion?
In my opinion, they fail for a couple of reasons. Number one, I have seen business owners trying to implement AI everywhere and for very complex projects. So they want to use AI for these, for that, for very complex projects, and they want to do it all at once. So when that happens, they are not successful, because they are not really targeting the real issue, right? They want to do so many things that they end up doing nothing. So that's one thing. When you want to target multiple things at once, my
Mm-hmm.
recommendation is start with one little project, one action, one process that can give you time back. The ROI for me, it's either time back, more money, or less errors.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are an accounting person that have to be processing invoices, following up on people that haven't paid, and you can have AI do that. So that means that the errors will be reduced by concept, right? So at that
Mm-hmm.
point in time, for me, that's ROI. So that's one of the reasons why they fail. The other reason why they fail is because the people or the business owners, they don't have the process defined. They know what they are doing, they know the product, they know exactly how it helps other people. But when I tell them, hey, can you tell me how is your current follow-up process for people that reaches out to you, when they cannot describe it, that's a big red flag, because AI will only amplify what you have in your business. If your business is broken, then AI will not fix it.
Maybe it's time to redesign the process, right?
Exactly, that's the first step. For instance, if you ask me to help you to implement an AI solution for your sales process, if you don't sell today, there's no AI that we can implement that's gonna increase your sales, because that means that your process is broken. That means that you don't have your ICP defined. That means that you are not looking at the right people, that your sales conversion, is not there yet. So it doesn't matter. Every time I sit down with business owners, first thing I ask is, do you know how this process from a step 0 to a step 10, or all the way until the end? Can you write it in a napkin for me right now? Do you have an SOP that tells me how to do it? Because that's exactly what I'm going to use to build your solution, right? And that's when people fail, because
Yep.
they say, just do it, implement AI for me. This is what I need to fix, right? But I,
It's a
my,
magic
my,
solution, Marvin. It's a magic solution.
exactly. And I don't offer a magic solution. I just offer to save you time, money, and giving you less errors by implementing AI as long as your process makes sense.
Now, so what does failure look like? I'm sure you've seen failure before, right? So customers who implemented these things and they were not happy with the results probably. And the statistics says like the 80-20 rules, 80%, like this is how big it is. 80% of people implement AI, they fail.
Yes, failure looks like a lot of time lost and frustration. I have spoken with founders that they have lost credibility in AI because they just implement things, they pay for a lot of subscriptions, and they don't see any results whatsoever. I have spoken with people that have purchased systems that they pay maybe $300 a month, and they don't even know, what they use it for. All right, so that's a big red flag, and that's how failure looks like. I have seen people spending 3, 4, 5, 6 months implementing an AI solution that at the end breaks. That's the other thing. Even though AI is a great resource, it requires iteration. So if I do an AI solution for you, we're gonna try it, we're gonna test it, we're gonna look at the output, and if the output is not good enough, then we have to
Retry.
retry by doing something different, right? So that has to be constant. And that's the reason why I say that AI will not replace humans for anything, right? You have to need, or you need to have a human in the loop all of the time. You can do 80 up to 90% of your process using AI or even automation. Sometimes you don't even need
Sure.
AI. If your process is deterministic, if your call flow goes from a step 1, 2, 3 at all times, then you don't need AI to automate your process, right? And that's kind of my type of conversation with business owners, and I see them paying lots of subscription, spending a lot of time, and just deciding to leave AI because they didn't see any results.
So how do company actually get ROI from AI and from the ones that you've seen? And what are the ones who get it right doing it differently? Like the one that it works for them, what are they doing differently?
That's a great question because number one of the things they do differently, it's involving everyone in the process. So I worked with small companies, mid-sized business companies, and most of the employees, they say, hey, they want to implement AI because they want to fire me. And it doesn't work like that. So I've seen companies investing in AI and being successful because they engage everyone in the company from the very beginning. They say, hey, Robin, we're going to do this AI automation that is going to make your life easier because it's going to do XYZ instead of you doing it. You will still need to speak with the person. You're going to still need to update some notes or whatever, right? But the AI will get you 80% of the process, without your effort. And then you start telling them, hey, can you tell me how you do it? Because sometimes business owners, again, they are knowledgeable, but they are not day to day in the front end speaking with customers or doing the daily processes. So you engage an operator and say, "Hey, tell me how you do it. Tell me what steps you follow. What's your blocker? How do you fix it?" Right? And after that, after all that happens, you'll implement the AI solution, and then you bring your employee back, and then you start saying, "What was the output? Did you like it? Is it worth it?" Right? And I've seen companies being successful just by doing that.
And I've seen a lot of companies, they want to be lazy about it, meaning that they think as soon as I hand over a process to AI or something similar to AI, we're talking specifically about AI in this case, there is no more involvement. And it's just a hands off kind of an approach, which is not true. And it's a misconception to say, I've deployed an AI now and, I can go vacation on the beach somewhere and the business will run automatically and the bank is full of money all of the time. It's dumb to think that way. It's stupid to think that way. Um, it helps. It makes the life easier a little bit, but you need to stay involved. You need to stay tweaking it. I guess that's what you're saying.
That is exactly what I'm saying. Let me give you another experience from a client that I did some recent work for him. So this is a staffing firm. So this is a company that hires people in Latin America and connects them to US companies. So this person was telling me, I would like to get the information from key decision makers that need to hire someone. All right, that's good. That's good enough. I asked him, all right, how do you do it today? What do you manually do today that works for you? So he says, I go to this website, I review every day in the morning this many, links, and then from that, I look at the name of the companies, then I go to LinkedIn and start looking at at the people that work there, try to identify the decision maker, and then I send them a message. All right. So that's good enough. I told him good. And then I propose a system that could do all that automatically. So by the time that he opens his computer, he's gonna have or he has an email with at least 10 people that he can reach out to that need his service. But there's one catch. At the end, I told him we can have an AI outbound system that sends an email, that sends a connection request in LinkedIn, et cetera, et cetera. And he said no. Said, not really. It's good enough to have the information of the people. I am going to reach out personally. I will send the text message. I will send the email. I don't care because there should be some level of transparency. And as you said, Robin, and involvement. And even though you have AI implemented in your company.
Absolutely. I get that a lot. Like on LinkedIn, people reach out to me, and you can feel it's a bot reaching out to you, right? So, with all due respect to everybody who's programming these bots, because it takes somebody to program them. And I'm not saying anything negative, and I can tell immediately if a person, reaching out to me versus a programmed workflow process that reached out to me, right? It makes a difference when a human reach out to you.
Yes, it makes a difference. And you will see some indicators or what they call it AI slop. If you see the word must in MOST in a LinkedIn post, that means it was AI generated.
100%, yeah.
See, exactly. If you see contrarian ideas, for instance, if you want to be successful in life, not for a week, not for a month, but for your entire life, that kind of writing, it's AI generated. When you see dashes, that's AI
Oh, I'm
generated.
ambassadors are bad.
Yeah, so in a
And
world
too
where
much emojis. They throw emojis everywhere.
exactly, exactly. So in an era where there's a lot of AI generated content, being transparent and being yourself really makes a difference. I'm not saying
100%.
that you cannot use AI to generate content. It gives good ideas, good hook suggestions, A/B testing, but at the end of the day, you cannot replace your voice, your opinion, your expertise.
So you do
Right?
A/B
So
testings and all that stuff.
exactly. So I've created a social media system that generates posts automatically and posts them to the client's social media channels, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. But at the end of the day, there were some posts that they were not being successful. And the person came to me and asked me, why is this not working? And then I told him, I programmed this exactly like you asked me to. There has to be a revision process. There has to be your voice injected. It's not like you pressing a button magically and then expecting a million followers the next day. That is not going to happen. It takes time, effort, and your own originality to really accomplish that.
Again, that's the lazy factor.
Exactly. That's the lazy factor.
Now, let's talk about something that you specifically wanted to cover, Marvin. The difference between a tool, a workflow, and an AI agent. Walk me through that distinction, if you don't mind.
I would be happy to. Do you remember from our conversation right now where I was telling you that I have seen founders spending lots of money in multiple subscriptions?
Yes.
Those are tools. So if you purchase ChatGPT,
Yeah, that's a tool.
that's a tool. Claude is a tool. Expandio is a tool. Apify is a tool. Those are tool subscriptions that you can use, but you have to be there. You have to enter information to get something back in return. It cannot run automatically. So
Yep.
that's one tool. And typically, a tool can be extremely good. But if it's not connected to your system, to your business, to what you do, then it's not as useful as you may want that tool to be. Now, a workflow is a set of steps, right, that you can take following a process. So, for instance, a customer fills out a form in a website. The information goes to my email inbox. From my email inbox, I capture critical information. I put it into my CRM. That's a workflow because there's a series of steps, step 1, 2, and 3, that happens every time for every customer. And you can have tools that run the workflow, right? You have your CRM, you have your Gmail tool, but at
Yep.
the end, there's a series of steps. Do you need AI for that? Not necessarily. But you can actually add AI to it and it becomes an AI workflow. At what point in time? Following up with the example. You have the customer filling out the form, it goes to your inbox, you extract the information, put it into the CRM. But let's imagine that you asked the potential client to enter how much they make in a year. And let's say that you put, $50,000 a year, and
Yeah.
if the person does less than that, then it's not your client. So you can add AI to make that determination, and if it's your client, then it goes to path A, and then if not, then you go to path B. That's an AI workflow. That's
Just
a
typical
series of steps.
programming.
Exactly. If then, right?
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
workflow.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this is and this is what I recommend the most. I like to recommend business owners to use AI or workflows in deterministic scenarios, a sequence of steps well defined. Now, when you decide to use AI and you give access to your tools to the AI system that you created, that is an AI agent. Imagine this.
So like HubSpot and that kind of thing.
Exactly. And just following up with the example, if this person is making more than $50,000 a year, and it's your kind of customers that you want to talk to, you can have an AI agent that makes a research on that person, search their website, their LinkedIn, and based on that, creates an email and sends the email back to the person. That's an
Okay.
AI agent because you provide tools and you allow the agent to make decisions autonomously. And that's an issue because what happens if AI makes a mistakes? AI can do they call it hallucinations. So they try to respond so good that it can be wrong, or the AI can be so generic that they speak nothing about your company.
Yeah.
So, like for me, having an AI agent is not as productive as having an AI workflow, even a workflow.
Mhm.
So that's what really makes a difference. And having an AI agent requires a lot of iteration, testing, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. If you by only changing one single instructions on an agent, it changes the entire thing. And the
Of course.
problem is that opposed to tools where you can actually go back and tell uh, the AI, hey, I didn't like this answer. Please write it in a different format. With an AI agent, you cannot do that. The AI agent will do the action, and if it messes up, then you're screwed,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
It just like you put it on a toll highway, basically, there's no exit.
Exactly. Not exit. Exactly. Yeah. So very, very risky. I don't recommend running AI agents, especially for simple processes.
Yeah, unless you have a guardrails around it, unless you do a lot of iteration and you keep an eye on the output and see what's coming and what's going.
Exactly.
It's not meant to be hands off, that's for sure. So when is an AI agent is the right answer versus a simpler automated workflow? I mean, there's a lot of other ways you can automate a workflow, right?
Exactly. And an AI agent is the solution when, even though you have a deterministic workflow, maybe the outputs do not differ so much. Like, just to give you an example, you can create an AI agent that is going to do a research, all right? But it's not going to take more action like other than that. So it's not risky. I think that you have to create AI agents for decisions or for processes that are not risky for you. For instance, I have an AI agent, me personally, Marvin, that runs my inbox every day. So when I wake up, or not when I wake up, but when I open my computer, I have a general summary of all the emails that are pending and who should I respond to, who doesn't, and I have draft replies. I don't have the AI agent reply for me. It drafts the replies.
And you can take a look at it and see if it applies or not.
Exactly, exactly. And I have the AI agent as well look at my past emails and see how I respond to try to learn from my responses to make it right like me. And that's an iteration process.
Yep.
That's an iteration process. It has to happen every day, and you have to feed the AI with that. And that's when you can have an AI agent.
Do you think agents right now are being oversold?
I think they are, and it has to be with the whole hype in social media. I've seen lots of people saying things like, I have a personal assistant and I can go to sleep, and this assistant, when I come back, it's going to make me $1 million when I wake up again. For me, that is not true, right? You can have people
Or
doing fancy.
empty your bank account, maybe?
Maybe, maybe that's the worst mistake that you can ever do. But what I'm saying is that if an AI agent or any AI implementation does not resolve one issue for you, then it's not so relevant. Now, have you noticed that most of the people that creates these videos, social media, examples of AI agents, uh they don't show you, hey, I have this in real production and this is how it looks like and this is what we've
Correct.
saved, right? Because it's all hype. When I go
Yeah.
back and have a conversation with someone, just like changing a little action and putting AI to it and automating it can save hundreds of dollars without them knowing. And that's
Mhm.
exactly for me. If I speak with a business owner, they don't care if I use advanced AI, NLN, Cloud Code, whatever. What they only need is their issue resolved. That's all they care about, right?
No, most people right now, I mean, you're hitting the right tone because most people right now, most companies right now are suffering from what I call, I'm a fractional CRO, right? So, what I call the top of the funnel problem, meaning they don't have enough opportunities coming in. So, they're trying to automate the top of the funnel. And every small business owner or every entrepreneur out there, if you ask them what is your biggest issue, is I don't know where my next customer is coming from. I don't know where my next lead is coming from. And most of these guys, including myself, the only way we can get leads right now if we get involved personally, looking up, who do we talk to, etc. Now, for in my case, I built a small, what I call open claw kind of an agent where it goes in and finds me every night. It goes in and find me like the top companies that I need, small, medium sized companies that I need to get in touch with. And it puts them in an email and send them over to me. Now, I probably need to build another application or another way of integrating the results with my HubSpot, and then from HubSpot, send it to, based on my own input, send it to LinkedIn and do all the other outreach based on the research that this particular agent is doing. That's exactly what it's doing. You mentioned it earlier. Do the things that doesn't cost you a lot of headache down the road or make you worry, did I do the right thing or not? And you mentioned the research. I love this because I did the agent that I built, it was specifically for research. I need a specific company that meets a specific ICP. And, a lot of times I say to people, I said, what is your ICP? This is where my first indication is when people don't know what ICP is. And I have to spell it out for them. Ideal customer profile. So next time, guys, you hear me say this, ICP stands for ideal customer profile. And people should know this immediately, not wait and think about it or go find out who's your customer. You should know that. I mean, people should know that.
Exactly who you're helping.
Sorry, I got into it because I deal with this quite often where people don't know the basic information. Meanwhile, they're asking for high degree of sophistication when it comes to automation. Like, if you need to know the basic before we get into the complicated stuff.
And that's exactly what I stand for, that you cannot automate something that is not working. If you don't even know what ICP is, who your consumer is, like, don't try to automate things. I will be the first one to tell you we have to fix this before we continue. Yeah.
Or we can take your money anyway.
Well, that's another way of looking at it, because some of the offer that I am starting to do right now, it's serving as some sort of AI officer, like a fractional AI officer, because there's so much noise out there, so much tools. Business owners, they get a lot of information, but what's useful for them?
Yep.
Right. So Cloud Code is very popular today, and you will see a lot of people saying you can manage your entire company using Cloud Code. And that's somewhat true. There's so many things you can do with Cloud Code automatically, but business owners, they don't have time to do it. Business owners, some are not technical enough, and some business owners, they just need direction on where to go, what to buy, what subscription should I use. So if you're not ready to automate, then I am also ready to kind of guide you to the learning of understanding AI automation and how it applies to your business.
So let's say a founder or somebody who owns a company right now listening to our conversation there, Marvin, and they're thinking, yeah, I like this conversation. I like what Marvin and Robin are talking about, but I don't really know where to start. What is the practical way for somebody who is considering our conversation right now? What is the practical way to start? What is the starting point?
The starting point is just looking at your own system. For me, that's exactly it. Like, understand what is keeping me up at night.
So, like,
Right.
say they have like workflows, right? So they must be going through their workflows and saying which workflow, they probably have many workflows, which workflow is the candidate for automation?
Exactly. That's exactly it. And I can mention some workflows that apply to a lot of service businesses that maybe founders are not even thinking about. Like you mentioned HubSpot. Some other founders, they can have different CRMs,
Or
Salesforce,
Salesforce or whatever,
Airtable.
yeah.
Exactly right. Even a Google Sheet. Myself, I use a Google Sheet. I like it to keep it simple. The simpler, the better. I don't have to be fancy. There will be a time in which I may want to use another system, but right now I'm keeping it very, very simple. I imagine that most companies, they have a lot of customers that are not active customers. People that at some point either enter the funnel, but they didn't make a decision, or people that were our customers once but they didn't buy a product. So imagine having a database of 1000 leads, right? So one use case where you can automate AI is putting an AI system to get in touch with those leads. Imagine 1000 leads dead that you never touched but that you already paid for, maybe advertising, maybe whatever, right? And then calling those leads with an offer, maybe a discount on your service, maybe whatever. If you convert only 5% of that 1000, which is 50 customers, right?
That's a lot of
So
customers for a small business.
exactly, right?
You
And
don't
if
need
your
a million.
service exactly, and if your service is maybe $200 a month times 50, you have the money right there.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's easier to have an AI system to do that for you than having someone from your team calling the person, sending a text message, writing down what happened. So that's where AI actually makes sense.
So these are the things that probably a business owner right now needs to think about. Look at your workflows right now in a deterministic way and try to figure out which workflow would be best to automate. And you may not have all the answers. I mean, but at least you took the time to do an inventory, if you will, of your workflows. So when you speak to somebody like Marvin or somebody else that you have in mind, hopefully you talk to Marvin after this call, then you can at least say, I've got the workflow list here. And what do you think, Marvin? What do you think, Mr. Consultant? What do you think, Mr. Provider, should we do next here? Instead of going back and starting from scratch and mapping out everything for you as an expert from the outside, at least you have an idea what is possible, what is feasible in this case. And is there a signal on your side that tells you, for instance, from a process perspective, from a workflow perspective, what are the signals that would tell you perhaps this is a good one, we should start here?
For me, the signal is, what am I doing every day? Like, if I'm doing that every day and I'm doing it the same way, that means that you have to automate
the repetitive movements.
repetitive movements. And you may say, hey, it only takes me 5 minutes. And it might sound silly, but if it takes you 5 minutes, you do it 10 times a day. That's 50 minutes per day. And then you do that 5 times a week, and then 4 weeks a month. It adds up.
I hate wasting time, man. I am telling you, I hate wasting time. And just to give you an example, for instance, when I started the podcast, it used to take me 3-4 weeks to produce one episode. It's to hire people, get people to do video editing and writing posts and all that stuff. Now it takes me an hour and 15 minutes maybe to produce 30 pieces of content, brand them with my podcast brand and doing all that stuff and putting it on a YouTube and putting it on the podcast audio channels, etc. All this done now through scripting using Python and AI, and all that stuff is done pretty much automatically for me. And you're right, when you look at a process and it's repetitive, and we're all trying to do more with less now, even if you are a single owner of companies, right? Even if you have like 2 people helping you, it doesn't matter. If you're a single owner or you have like small number of staff helping you, you're always trying to do more with less. And enough already with, I cut and paste it, put it in Chat GPT, and I get the answer, and then I cut and paste it somewhere else and I do something else with it. That's very primitive in my opinion at this point.
It is. That's when connecting all the systems, tools, that makes sense and saves a lot of time. And when I think about it, if I save you time, what do you think people would do with the time they save?
They either have a free more time for their family or for themselves, or they can use that time to do more.
Exactly. I like to think that you can do activities that AI will never replace. You spot on the first one, spending time with your family. How many people that own a business spend Friday afternoons doing reports, closing the week, preparing for next week, doing proposals?
I'm laughing because I've got a bunch of stuff I need to do this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, and again, when people feel overwhelmed, maybe it's time to look at what you can automate, but don't try
100%.
to automate everything at once. Start with one thing. What do you do every day? One little thing, so that you can start seeing results.
Now, let's talk a little bit about where this is heading next. I think that entire automation thing, and we're talking about it. I run a networking event. You're welcome to attend. It happens on Friday mornings at 9 o'clock in the morning. The next one is on the 29th, every Friday. So it's called the AI Exchange. If you're interested, send me a little note. I'll send you the invite. It's free to attend. Normally it gets attended by about 25 people from around the world. These are enthusiasts such as yourself in AI. And we talk AI all the time. So we're always looking for fresh ideas. You're welcome to come in and do a presentation to the team, tell them a little bit about yourself, etc. There's a lot of benefit for that. This is how you build connections, if you will.
Exactly.
So one of the things is we talk about is in this day and age is the where are we heading? I did a presentation last week on the to the team around what are the latest coming up in AI, new models, things are moving. For instance, the price of token has dropped and continues to drop, which as more data centers are coming up, more capacity is being provided for AI. Obviously, the price is going to continue going down. So in your opinion, for the next 2 to 3 years, where is this heading right now in the service business?
For
And
me,
I'm talking, when I say where is, I'm talking about automation.
exactly. This is only going to get better. Tools are getting better, systems are getting better. LLMs will, I cannot even imagine what type of tools or improvements there will be in 2 years. But you know what's not going to change? What is not going to change is how people use that.
The human value, right?
Exactly, the human value. Because if you don't fix your business and the way you operate today, you will
Yes.
lose against someone that is more organized, that has a better idea of how the processes flow in their business, and
Yep.
that will select the tool that is probably the same tool you're using, and they will be more successful than you.
Yeah. You know, I'm really enjoying this conversation, to be honest with you. To me, it's like factual conversation. It's hitting home to many of our listeners right now. They're looking at their businesses, they're looking at their operations, and they're thinking, I've got a lot of stuff here to do. In this day and age, they shouldn't. In this day and age, if you still, as an entrepreneur, bogged down, meaning that you have a lot of things on the go right now, and you have many reports to write, many emails to answer, many inquiries to respond to. I can't believe I'm still saying this. And I keep saying like this anecdote that happened to me personally, because when I worked for Genesis, for instance, I was the database architect for them back in the days. I wrote the first application to auto reply to an email using Unix as a platform. Like this is I'm talking mid 90s. It's 30 years ago, 35 years ago. And when I wrote that application, the way we wrote it is that when an inquiry comes in as an email and somebody says, can I check on my order? Example. Can I check my order number? And they put the order number in the email. The program will read the email, detect that there is an order number in the email, goes to the SQL, to the database, it's an SQL at the time, and retrieve the order status, formulates an email, and sends it back to the customer. This is mid 90s.
Wow.
Today, with all of our advancement, we still haven't been able to send an email back to the customer with 100% accuracy. I don't know why. I have no idea. I think the human communication is so complex that if we miss a word in an email, I think it's going to send the wrong signal about the entire company.
You are correct, and that's impressive. It's 30 years and still making mistakes.
It's crazy. So my last question, if you don't mind, for those who are listening right now, Marvin, and they are running, let's say, most of our businesses actually that were listening to this channel are running a service business. They now need to do something with AI, but they have not yet started. What is the one thing they should do this month?
So for me, there's two things. If you have never used AI or you have used it very little, just maybe ChatGPT or Gemini, that's okay. That's okay, right? But you you should find a way to understand the capability of AI, how much of it can do to your business, right? Everything that you learn about AI, because you have to start learning AI, that is a must, right? So because this is gonna get better only. So start learning AI by just watching YouTube videos, that's okay, or just do
Educate
it.
yourself.
Educate yourself.
Or
But
ask AI to teach you. That can do that.
exactly. Well, actually, ChatGPT or any LLM right now, they have like a learning mode. You just turn it on, and then the AI acts like a professor, right? So it guides you through the learning. But what I wanted to say is, just do it, learn, but think about how you can apply that to your business. You can ask the AI, how can you be right? How can you make me be more successful? What can I automate? Give your website, give any information. The more context, the better. That's the first thing that you should do. And two, if you have employees, try to get one person that is going to be your AI champion, right? And try to just put AI into your entire company, and
Yeah,
that's going to drive great results.
totally. I'm not sure if you had a chance to listen to it. I did a podcast with the chief data officer for AI officer for a big financial company out of Michigan, I think it was. I'll send you the link for that one. It's very interesting conversation because one of my biggest question was around how are you bringing, sorry, I said the last question when I asked the last question, but I'm always so interested in this conversation. More topics comes up, I guess, as we continue the dialogue here. And that's what Fireside said it is about. So one of the questions I keep asking is how do you bring the employees along the journey? Because one of the biggest problem is, okay, the owner wants to go AI and the employees are saying, I don't want to, because guess what? When you automate, you are going to take away my job and not necessarily I want to get along with the ride here. So, but there is a way to get the employees onto the system, to get them to think AI, to think, because they're all working too much. They're all working, doing too many things. And AI is going to make them do their job easier, faster, more accurate, and allow them to produce more. Therefore, everybody's happy, I think.
Yeah, and that's the right thing, or that's the right way of looking at it. More productive. I've known companies, and I worked with companies that their employees know nothing about AI, and it's
Mm-hmm.
so much harder to work with. And I've seen some other companies that there's a lot of people using AI already, one way or the other, and the job is so much easier, and they can do so much more.
Yep.
So bringing on your employees early on, it's one of the best decisions that you can ever make.
Absolutely. What do you think of the conversation so far?
It's been a very interesting and great conversation.
It's very lively, right?
Very lively. Yes, I agree.
I'm really happy that you came onto the channel. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I appreciate you having me,
And
honestly.
for the audience, like if they want to get a hold of you, how do they reach out?
They can go to my website, bandsaw.ai. Just yesterday, I built an AI bot, or an AI customer service support bot, that is going to answer any questions you may have, just like if it was me. So go ahead and try it out, right? And if the bot cannot answer, it's going to tell you how to get a hold of me by booking a call or just sending an email to info@bandsaw.ai as well.
And
So feel
plus,
free.
we'll have your contact information in the post edit of this conversation when I publish it. I'll have your LinkedIn profile and your website and all that stuff in there. And for the audience, by the way, if you are interested in continuing this conversation with Marvin Martinez, and you're interested in this conversation to explore a further opportunity with Marvin, and you can't get a hold of him, you know me, and you've got a hold of me already. I am on LinkedIn. Reach out to me and I will facilitate an introduction to Marvin. No problem. I'll happy to introduce you to Marvin. Marvin and I just connected on LinkedIn right now before the call. So thanks everybody. Marvin, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this recording. Any last comments before we move on to closing?
Well, just thank you so much for again having me. It was a great conversation, very live, and it was because I'm very passionate about this. And my last for me advice to business owners, don't be afraid. Start small. Just do it. And that applies to me myself. Sometimes I may think, is this gonna work? Should I do it? Should I not do it? Man, the worst thing that it can happen to you is that it doesn't work. That's it. So just try it out. Try AI. Try to automate. You will see return of investment if you do it the right way.
Absolutely. For the audience, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this conversation. Thanks for listening in on this episode 221. And if you are watching us on YouTube, thanks for watching us on YouTube. Thanks for viewing us on YouTube. If you like this content and you think somebody might benefit from this content, please share with them. And if you are listening to us on our podcast channels, by the way, we're available on all podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening in. And if you're reading our blog post where I summarize these conversations in a small digestible format on my blog post, that's the robinayoub.blog site. Thanks for subscribing to that. I appreciate it. I noticed a little bit of a spike in the subscription in the past few weeks. Thanks for joining us on that channel as well. And I'll see you at the next episode. And for now, from me and Marvin Martinez, I wish you a great weekend and we'll see you at the next episode. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you later.